Welcome back to another edition of All Chiefed Up. I am Steve and I'm here with Mike. The Chiefs have signed a defensive tackle. We got a lead on Lonnie Johnson and we take a few of your questions. But before we get started, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button if you have not yet. Also tell your friends and family where to find good Chiefs content on YouTube. Make sure to like all the videos, hit the bell so you get notifications when we come out with new content, and we appreciate you.
Okay, let's jump right in, man. We got a lead on Lonnie Johnson. Yesterday, I had said we had sent out a tweet to Pete Sweeney. You had actually sent one out to him a few weeks ago or a few days ago, actually, and he didn't really say nothing back. But we said, yo, Pete, again, any word on Lonnie Johnson? It seems like he is just left out of the mix at corner. Is this a performance thing or a veteran thing, just trying to get the young guys some reps? Thanks. Pete finally did return the tweet. Good old Pete. And he says, seen him a bit with the third team. Wonder if that's just to get younger guys looks, which is what we said. Workouts following preseason game one will be more telling on that front. So basically, Pete's just trying to say that, hey, it looks like maybe it could be the veteran thing, like we've been saying. They want to get these young guys some looks. And after the first preseason game, they'll start settling into a legit depth chart. So now we're going to see whether or not Lonnie Johnson's really got some problems or if he's just kind of being pushed to the back burner for the rookies right now.
Right. I'm kind of leaning more towards that at the moment. I was actually listening to Out of Structure earlier, podcast with Ron Kopp Jr. He said he was at camp and he saw Lonnie Johnson running with the second team. They actually moved him up from third to second. And he was running opposite of Najee Johnson. So I think they're just moving the guys around quite a bit, still trying to get a feel for it. I'm with Pete. I think we're going to know more about it after the first preseason game. The Chiefs made a signing at defensive tackle. They took Danny Shelton. He most recently played for the New York Giants. Mike, how do you feel about that signing?
I think it's just a signing, just a camp guy. They maybe want to give him a look. He's a thick guy. He's 6'2", 345, so he's a space eater for sure. He was a former first-round pick. Cleveland drafted him in 2015. He's played a few years with Detroit, the Giants. He recently just worked out with the Raiders. He signed here, so I don't know. He's got 100 career games under his belt, 138 tackles in his career, 6 sacks. It's nothing amazing. He's just a guy, he's there. He's solid. He's a space eater. Again, I thought Derek Nottie has had a very good camp. Maybe this is a signing because Stallworth didn't pan out as much as we thought he may, because he's been kind of quiet this camp, and we thought he'd make some waves.
I'm kind of liking the signing myself. I feel like he's a run stuffer. So my brain automatically went to Mike Pennell, who was great when we were making that run to the Super Bowl. So maybe we can get that veteran presence in there, have the run stuffer, have somebody in there that's solid. It could go a long way.
Yeah, so right now it looks like Chris Jones and Wharton's probably the starters. Saunders has had a good camp. Nottie's had a good camp. So those guys probably make the team. Do we keep Shelton and take 5? I don't know. Maybe that's something they're looking at right now.
It's a possibility, but I do like the veteran presence. I think if anybody's a fringe player in that group, it's probably Colin Saunders. But I mean, he's been around for a minute, so I don't expect to see him go anywhere. So yeah, you might be right. There might be 5 defensive tackles on this roster.
Okay, let's jump into some questions. We got a couple questions from Chiefs Kingdom that they have written to us, want us to answer. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Steve, I'll throw you the first one. Dale from Illinois says, will Josh Williams actually live up to the camp hype?
I think in a way he will. I think that Josh Williams is going to be a solid corner. Don't put too much expectation on his rookie year, but I do think that he will see the field more than you may expect. I mean, he's just a long, athletic guy, and he can get out there and make some things happen. So I think it just really depends on how he adapts to the NFL game speed and things like that. And of course, he's looked good at camp, but I mean, that can't really predict what's going to happen when they put those pads on, get out there and actually start hitting other teams, in a real football game. So we'll see how he adapts to the NFL. But yeah, he has a chance to.
Well, I think people threw a little bit extra expectations on him that doesn't even count, because when Fenton's healthy and Snead's healthy and McDuffie's healthy and Lonnie Johnson starts running more, he's probably the 5th option. I mean, he's going to play on the field at certain times throughout the game, but he's not going to just be asked to be starter day one. And if he is, that means he did live up to the hype.
Yeah, I think he's going to be the 4th or 5th option. It just really depends on what they end up doing with Lonnie Johnson, because that you got Snead, Fenton, and McDuffie, who's going to be taking a lot of snaps. And I feel like Lonnie Johnson should be in that mix. So, I mean, we'll wait. We'll see what happens after preseason. Kim from Missouri wrote in, and she wants to know why CEH has not lived up to the expectations that everybody had of him when he was drafted in the first round.
Yeah, well, that's just it. He's a first-round pick. Everybody expects it to be amazing. They just want you to set the roof on fire. And Clyde's kind of had to battle some injuries. Um, it's that whole Andy Reid running back thing too. Andy Reid doesn't like to have a bell cow a lot. He'll rotate 3, 4. Um, but Clyde's done decent. He's not done great. It's a lot of just injury stuff. We'll see. They're saying he looks better in camp this year. They're saying he looks more nimble. He looks quicker. He's ran with the first team exclusively this whole camp. So with all the Pacheco hype, all the Rojo hype, anytime Clyde has gotten a chance to go first team, he's just about ran first team exclusively. So it's his job, whether people like it or not. And, it's up to him to lose it, which he could. He's got to stay healthy. He's got to have a big year, I believe, this year.
Right. That's the key right there, staying healthy, staying on the field. Because when Clyde plays, he is productive. He doesn't ever look bad. You're never like, man, really wish Clyde wasn't in the game. But he's just got to stay on the field. That's what's really hindered Clyde from meeting expectations, which, like Mike said, were pretty lofty because you're a first round pick. So I think to answer your question, I think the reason why he hasn't lived up to expectations is because he was a bit of a reach in the draft. So, I mean, he was expected to come out and be this top notch guy when really he might not have been at that level when he was taken.
Yeah, the thing about Clyde that people kind of overlook too is he does have an uncanny ability to get to the line and through the line. And where you think he's going to go down at 2 yards, he can squirt for 4 yards, 5 yards. I watched an interesting video on YouTube. Somebody broke down some Clyde film. And yeah, he did just that. And he has pretty good vision. I think we're just a little unfair to Clyde because of his draft pick. Question number 3. Would KC consider trading Rojo if Pacheco has a great preseason? Asked Jamal from Kansas City. And that kind of goes back to this whole running back room. That seems to be a big topic in Chiefs Kingdom.
Right. So it's a good question because it's like, where does Rojo fit in this mix, especially if Pacheco comes out and shines? But I think that they'll probably hang on to him. He's just on a 1 year deal. I don't really know what you're going to get for Rojo. I don't think he's like a highly sought after player. So I don't think he's going to be involved in any deals really. I think if anything, they might just cut him, but I don't see that happening either. I think that they're going to like having, the experience in the backfield. Yes, Pacheco could come out and have a great year, but he's also a rookie. And like with many other rookies, everyone expects way too much in that first season. So I think that this year you're going to see a lot of Pacheco stuff in special teams, returning kicks. He will make his way onto the field, but I still think Rojo is going to have, his share of carries in the offense, and he's going to do what he needs to do to maintain his spot on the team.
Yeah, I still think Rojo's the clear cut, probably 2, 3 with a hefty mix between him and McKinnon. So, Pacheco, he's gonna have to do a lot. And I don't know if Andy does trust rookies to come in and carry the load. He did it with Kareem Hunt. So time will tell. We just put so many lofty expectations on these young guys. It's unfair.
Dan from Ohio wants to know who's going to be the most hyped Chief after the first preseason game. That's a great question, Mike. I'll let you take that.
That's a great question. I'm going to say Shane Boucher. No, I'm joking. He'll get a lot of snaps. He's going to be on the field. What's Mahomes going to do? Take like 2 series tops. Anyway, I will say I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say offensively, we'll go with Kennard or Justin Watson. Those are going to be my 2 guys. I think Kennard will get a lot of playing time. You'll finally get to see him maybe slide in and take that right tackle row, possibly. I think Justin Watson will be on the field a lot. They want to see what they got with him, so I think he will be on the field a lot. He may even be on the field more than a Sky Moore. Sky Moore, they already know he's going to make the team. You're not cutting your, second round pick, so they may not get him out there, but they still may want to see stuff from him, Watson, Powell, players like that. If you go defensive side, it's probably going to be a rookie again. Could even be Josh Williams. If Josh Williams was to go out and have a few pass breakups or a big interception out there, his camp legendary status is going to go through the roof. So it's going to be a couple rookies. It's a shot in the dark at who it'll be.
I personally think it's going to be either Brian Cook or Leo Chanel. I think one of them is going to absolutely wallop somebody in the first game, take somebody's head off, some kind of a big hit, big celebration. You're going to see the video posted all across Chiefs Kingdom and Twitter and everywhere else and talking about how amazing they are. And it's going to be a big deal. I think that one of those guys are going to have a big play, a big hit, and that's what's going to spark the excitement. And I think one of them might be the most hyped player after game 1.
Yeah, straight up. It could also be Pacheco, too. We talked about him. He's going to probably get a lot of carries there at the running back in the second half of that first preseason game. And he may chunk a big play. He may take one to the house. He may catch a nice ball out of the backfield. Who knows? But The Pacheco hype, the Josh Williams hype, it's already through the roof. So if they do anything that kind of lives up to it, it's going to go even crazier.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us today. Make sure to hit that sub button if you haven't hit it yet. Trying to get to 1,000 before the season starts. We're getting pretty close, so make sure you get down there and do that if you have not. Also, hit the like button on these videos. Hit the bell so you get notifications when they come out with new content. One more thing, make sure you're getting over to the podcast. We are actually on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, you name it. We're on there. Just put in All Chiefed Up and you can check out and maybe get some exclusive content on there from time to time. We'll be back tomorrow with a preview of the Chiefs' first preseason game against the Chicago Bears this Saturday. We'll talk about what we think we're going to see, maybe who could shine, who could come out and be that most hyped player we were talking about earlier. So yeah, thanks for being with us and we'll see you again tomorrow, Chiefs Kingdom.
See you guys. Subscribe, Josh. He's watching.
There goes a sight from my soul.